Good evening. How are you? What is tonight? Is it Thursday? Yes, Thursday, December the 1st, 2022. You're watching the Deerwood Realty live stream. What's that? What is going on? How did you find this? Power of the internet, eh? My name is John Schenk. I'm the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small residential firm. So small, it's just me. I focus mainly on helping buyers buy homes and sellers selling theirs. In the evening, I do the Deerwood Realty live stream, normally at 9 o'clock Central Time. We talk about pop culture and real estate issues and news of the day. I give my own unique spin on things, my opinion, if you will. Yeah, that's it. I'm getting pretty smooth at it. I looked at the, how do I put it? I looked at the past year of live streams, and they started just around now last year. Now, how much have we grown? Well, I don't know. Other than family and friends, I think that got me to like 20 subscribers, and now I'm up to 125. I looked at yesterday. I'm doing okay. It's a very slow. I mean, it's a very slow march to the magical 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It's been long. Now, to be fair, I didn't live stream all the time. There were I did do 69 live streams in a row. That didn't get me anywhere. I did I missed pretty much all of October, and I missed a lot of September this year with the flu. I think we got a good show tonight. We're going to talk about a couple of things, a little bit off the beat. We're going to talk about Gwen Stefani. Yes. We're going to talk about some stuff on Twitter that I saw, and then we're going to talk about some articles. Inflation-adjusted house prices are more than 3% from the peak. We'll look at that a little closer. Airbnb not helping tenants rent their own rentals. I thought that was an interesting story and perhaps a sign of things to come. And then moving chairs on the ibuying Titanic. Eric Wu has stepped down as the CEO of Open Door. That came out tonight. I don't know. I don't know if it's like circled, through the media yet, but that's not good. I had a walkthrough tonight and got a closing tomorrow. What is a walkthrough? A walkthrough is when it's mostly ceremonial, in my opinion. It's when you go walk through a property for the last time before you actually close on it. And in theory, you're supposed to go through the walkthrough and check and see that if you negotiated repairs, if the seller actually made those repairs. But real estate agents are told all the time that they're not experts, and they tell their clients they're not experts in construction or mold or anything like that. And so typically what happens is you ask for lien waivers and receipts at closing. And then when you do that, that's pretty much evidence of you doing the work. A lot of times the work is kind of hidden. If you need to replace something in an air conditioner condenser, it's not like we're going to, on a walkthrough, go look at the air conditioner condenser and open it up and see what's going on. It's just not something we would do. So it's more like I said, it's more like ceremonial. It's things that you don't want to have happen at a walkthrough. One, you don't want your buyer to be like, oh my God, what did I just do? Why am I buying this house? Walkthrough, by the way, St. Louis Association contract, 4 days, up to 4 days. Buyer says up to 4 days before closing to go through a walkthrough, to schedule a walkthrough. You don't want the buyer freaking out at that point in time. That's not good. You also don't want a bunch of stuff at the house. Like, you don't want the seller to have all their stuff there, because you're literally closing the next day. But it happens. People are bad planners. People need help. All kinds of things can happen. So I don't get too upset about it. I just know that they're going to fail. I just know that, and just so you know, like, one of the things, like, if it's a retail deal, if there's no investors involved or anything like that, get your stuff out. If you're selling your house, get it out, make it clean, and I mean clean for the buyer. That's the way to do it. You may say, well, there's no law that says I should keep my place clean or make it clean when I leave. No, there's not. But it reflects poorly on you as a human being if you can't even keep your house clean or make it clean when you leave. Now you say, well, I once bought a house and the previous seller didn't clean it, and so why should I do it for somebody else? Because you're better than those people. That's why. You're better. So, went to the walkthrough. I got some stuff going on tomorrow. Got to go over some inspections and things like that. The closing. Anyway, it should be a good day. But anyway, tonight, I don't know. Tonight, we'll just go through what I saw. Hopefully, there's something there that catches your eye. I don't know that we'll go full hour tonight. I got to get up early tomorrow. We'll see. But let's get into some Google Trends. Saw this article on Google Trends this morning. Wanted to save it. I realize that I put it in the wrong spot. Put that there. Okay. Here we go. I thought we could have some fun with this. This hopefully isn't making fun of people. Maybe it is. You got that? Just want to check. Okay, good. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Did you see anything about Gwen Stefani? Apparently she was at the Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting. I don't know if this is a hit piece. I don't know what to make of this. It says holla different. I believe she didn't want to be a holla back girl at one point in time. I feel like Gwen Stefani's done an awful lot with very little like actual talent. No offense to her. But like if you've ever heard them live when she was in No Doubt or anything, she's pretty much just screeching into the microphone. Maybe they fixed her voice by now. I don't know. Gwen Stefani mocked for her alarming new face as fans say she's unrecognizable at Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting. Now, so number one, I think we have to look at like fans. Like what would define a fan of Gwen Stefani? Somebody that listens to her music? Someone that watches her on TV? Is that a fan? That could be anyone. You could actually not like her and still watch her perform. So that's a little bit weird, but let's continue. It says Gwen Stefani has been slammed with many Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting fans calling her unrecognizable. The star took the stage several times during the event, and while viewers were impressed with her singing, which is hard to believe because honestly, I can remember her in No Doubt, and it was terrible. It was like a cat dying, gasping for its last breath. It was terrible. While viewers were impressed with her singing, it was her appearance that really stole the show. It says Gwen 53. Now she's 53 years old. Hard to believe. I mean, I feel like I'm old at 45. She's older than me. Kicked off the show on NBC with a performance of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. She donned her hair in large curls, parted off to one side, and had on gold eyeshadow and bright red lipstick. Thank you for describing what she looks like. Her boldly colored lips and cheeks appeared plump, further fueling speculation that she's had work done. And this is kind of where I'm at, is there's this negative connotation for people that have had plastic surgery. But, you know, we always seem to want to remember people as they were, not as they become. Like for me, I mean, if I got some hair plugs, I'm 45, I could probably pull off maybe 40, lost some weight, maybe 35. That's dicey. I'd have to dye my hair too. But there's some people that like you want to believe that they're going to stay the same age forever. It says the No Doubt singer has ignored the backlash about her appearance, and Wednesday's show was no different. So I don't understand. Does she even know there's backlash? I mean, like, I ignore a lot of things, but I just don't know that they're happening. It says Gwen returned to the stage for a second performance, rocking yet another bold holiday-themed look. She sang a song called Under the Christmas Lights. While fans weren't floored by the rumored changes she'd made to her face, they were impressed with her vocals and her fashion sense. She's always been kind of lauded for her fashion sense. It says, I love Gwen's outfit. Well, like, it's good that you're enjoying something. It says another wrote, Gwen Stefani is awesome. Did you know that? Well, I mean, okay. Gwen also performed a duet with her husband Blake Shelton during the show. The pair performed You Make It Feel Like Christmas together. Now, in some publication, you'd have italicized titles, so I would know, like, is You Make It Feel Like Christmas together, like the name of the song, or is it You Make It Feel Like Christmas and then together? But it was the pair that performed. Anyway, while the song came out in 2017, it's a staple for the couple at holiday events. Well, who knew that? It says a hefty price. Chatter about Gwen's appearance comes amid reports she appeared to have spent a pretty penny on plastic surgery on her face. Dr. Richard Westrich told The Sun US, Gwen looks to have spent about $100,000 on cosmetic procedures and tweakments. I kid you not, tweakments, which means she won't need a facelift in 10-year time. But she's at that inflection point where the motivation should be to look fabulous and age appropriate. And while she looks good right now, I hope she doesn't over pursue and end up looking bizarre rather than great for her age. Now, people are saying she looks bizarre now. She's at that cusp and shouldn't be wanting to look 40 forever. And that's your goal, to look 40. You need to kind of get down into the 30s, I think. And right now, she's already looks a decade younger than she is. Gwen also has these moments where she looks oddly swollen, and that's probably indicative of her having facial tightening treatments done, like Face Tight. It was in 2004 that the Voice host told People magazine, I'm hoping my children will save me from my vanity. If it doesn't, plastic surgery is an option. It sucks to have to grow older. We all have to accept it. Well, I don't know what to make of this. Since then, others have claimed that the 53-year-old mom of three has possibly had a chin implant and a facelift, as well as Botox and fillers, despite never admitting to anyone. Well, has anybody ever asked her directly? And, like, does it really matter? A chin implant. But it was Gwen's recent appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers in the run-up to her coaching stint on The Voice where she showed off a new look. Then as season 22 got underway, Gwen began posting further photos and videos on her Instagram feed at times where the celebrity looked noticeably swollen. I don't know that I follow people for their plastic surgery work on Instagram or anything else. I don't really follow that many people. No more. Fans, meanwhile, have been pleading with the star to scale back on the procedures. Critics claim she's gotten excessive lip fillers and Botox and don't like the look. Well, that would be critics, right? If you obviously, like, so would you be a supporter of her, a fan, if you will? If you did like what she was doing? She recently tweeted a photo of herself resting a hand under her chin as she looked directly into the camera. She captioned the snap, waiting for Thanksgiving dinner like GX. I don't know what that means. Fans were focused on her lips, which appeared plumper than usual. Now, I'm going to go out and say this. I'm going to go out on a limb. Like, I would not know if someone's lips were more plump unless, like, they had like an allergic reaction to a bee sting. Then I'd probably be able to do it. Critics pled with, if I don't know, I guess that is pled, PLEAD, with her to stop with the injections. What TF, I think I know what that means, is it with people in botulism injections? One hater wrote. So what's the difference between a hater and a critic? Another tweeted, let those lips back down. A third hater commented, waiting for the Botox to wear off. Huh. All right. So they were impressed by her vocals and her fashion. What about her dancing? How's her dancing? Did she dance? Did she just stand there? What's going on? But I don't know. Part of me wanted to talk a little bit about, like, people will say, well, this is unfair to women. You don't point, there's no men that get plastic surgery and they're not mocked. No one asked, and I was thinking about that and I was like, well, that's not true. I think everyone gets mocked if their plastic surgery goes awry, but I think also kind of some people wear it as a badge of honor. They're happy with the work they've done to keep looking young and hip, I guess. But anyway, I wanted to go over something. I wanted to put away the men thing. So, do you remember this guy? Do you know who this is? His name is Kenny Rogers, or was. Apparently he's died in 2000. I did not know that. And if you've been a long time follower of the show, you'll note that I don't remember when people die. So, like, honestly, Cedric the Entertainer, I don't know if he's alive or dead. I'll have to check. But he may have died 14 years ago. If it's not him, it's Bernie Mac. I think it's Bernie Mac. I'm going to check. Please hold. Okay, Cedric the Entertainer, still alive. Still alive. See, he was born in Missouri. That's why I always wonder about him. Now, Bernie Mac. Not looking good on the yeah, died 2008. Been dead for a while. I'm not happy about that. I'm just happy that, I got Bernie Mac. Well, anyway, add to the list, Kenny Rogers, the gambler, had no idea. So anyway, this is how Kenny Rogers used to look. Okay. And then this is how Kenny Rogers looked towards the end. Like, he had some work done. No offense, but I'm just saying, had some work done. Were people criticizing him for the work that he had done as much as they were criticizing Gwen Stefani? Yes. But I didn't know he was dead, and I feel terrible. There really should be like I hate to say it, like a running list or something, some way to like inform people, like, oh, this person's passed. And I know I'm getting old because my references are to people that are passing or have passed. Kenny Rogers. Know when to fold them. Know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. I don't know if he was talking. I don't know if he was talking about poker. I don't play poker. I don't know if that's a good strategy for somebody in the chat may know. Put it in the comment section if no one's in the chat. Anyway, the point is, like, people get work done and some people like it and some people don't. And I don't think it's a good sign for an entertainer when people are like, well, that's another thing. So is Gwen Stefani known as an entertainer or a singer? I would say entertainer, right? Because we talked about, it doesn't sound very good live, I'm just again not trying to throw her under the bus. So if she's an entertainer and in some weird way, people are talking about her work that's been done, then she has entertained people because they're talking about the work she's had done. In a weird way, she's on track there. Now, if she were known as a singer, like let's just say Andrea Bocelli, that guy's known as a singer, right? If someone were to say, hey, did you see the work that he had done on his face? You'd be like, well, that's distracting from the fact that he's a great singer. Kenny Rogers died like 2020. Hasn't been that long. Bernie Mac, 2008. Johnny Cash, don't remember. Should look it up, but won't. Jimmy Carter's still alive. I mean, I don't know. Here we go. Deerwood Realty. General Grant, 589,000. Are you insane? Wow. Huh. All right. Anyway, mortgage rates. I've said like, hey, I want to be at like 5.50%, 5.5%. Mortgage rates, though, haven't been close to there. Mortgage rates have been usually in the 7s, have now dropped into the 6s, was staying like really, really consistent between like 6.6 and 6.7. Took a nosedive today to 6.29%. Why? I have no idea. And I don't think anybody else does either. But here's my understanding of the Fed. If the rates go down, okay, the Fed feels like housing inflation has been the worst part of inflation. And so if they can get rid of housing inflation, house price inflation, they can, regulate the economy better and it'll be great. But when the mortgage rates drop, then that spurs more buying, or at least more applications, we've come to find out, mortgage applications. So then it's like now the Fed can raise rates and get away with it. Now, as we've talked about, there is a correlation between the Fed funds rate and mortgage rates, but they do not run parallel. I don't know, parallel and congruent. I wasn't very good at geometry. Moving on, we're into the Twitter already. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a short show today, unless something happens, which, that would be fine. Markets in Mayhem says, always an encouraging sign when withdrawals are being limited, right? Blackstone limits withdrawals at $125 billion property fund as investors rush to the exit. Well, that's not good. What do they know? It says, this is Daniela Gabor. She wrote this. The private equity group met only 43% of redemption requests from investors in the Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust Fund in the month of November, according to the notice that it sent to investors on Thursday. Shares in Blackstone fell as much as 8%. This means that like people were asking for their money and they were only able to give 43% of it back. And then Adam Tooze writes, as Danielle Gabor says, the Blackstone news is a very, very big deal. Will the panic spread across REIT? Will the Fed respond? So, I do cover residential real estate mostly, but commercial real estate, mortgages, those things everything is in construction. Anything related to like finance, even used car sales. All of it's related to the way the Fed controls the borrowing rate in the United States. And so you see increases in asset values when the Fed is, in my opinion, doing the wrong job. They're creating bubbles in housing, creating it in finance, creating it in the automotive sector. I mean, it's just not good. But we haven't, I mean, we know that Credit Suisse has some problems, okay, or had some problems. But we thought that, I mean, some thought that that was contained. Now with this nugget, people are starting to, well, and we know that the one crypto exchange ate it. I don't know. There's things eating it. That's not good. Now, if we start seeing like private equity eat it with their property ownership, it's not good. Not a good thing. Moving on. Allie Wolf, she says, I found there's two housing camps with regards to buyers. Camp pent up demand, waiting for buyers to get off the sidelines and hurry back into the market, or camp pulled forward demand, referencing how many buyers rushed into the market since 2020. What camp are you in? I don't think pent up demand is right. Pulled forward demand, maybe by low rates. I don't know. I'm going to go pulled forward. Let's see what you say. Oh, 57.3. I'm within the I'm within the group. I'm like a winner right now. Only 515 votes. This was another tweet. This is from Sid Prabhu. What will Team Transitory blame the next inflation spike on? Oil commodity sectors, China, still transitory. Other, please specify. If I had to guess, it would be China. It's easy. They're an easy target. Also, a nebulous target. I mean, we don't really know that the numbers that the Chinese government puts out, if there's any sort of accuracy to them. It's a communist country. They're allowed to do whatever they want to with their numbers. That's why I've always been concerned about other things, quote unquote, so I don't get kicked off of YouTube. Yeah, China, easy one. This was an interesting one. This fellow here, Zhang Tao, he is bullish on Open Door. Says two important issues on Open Door. That's the stock. Terrible Q3 results. The first one: how close is Open going bankrupt without running out of cash? For Open Door to not burn cash in any quarter, its contribution margin needs to be positive and bigger than their cash operating expenses. Then this fellow Srini Koganti wrote, Open is a bag holder at scale. This home in Austin was $170,000 in 2009, again owned and listed by Open at $340,000 in 2020, now reduced to $279K. Good luck, Bulls. Even a primary school kid should get this dire situation, provided he thinks with a clean mind. It's a very bad business model. The iBuying business model is a very bad one when like they need to buy houses, okay, and then sell them for more than what they bought them for. Like that's important. Like they're not doing anyone any favors by buying houses for more than what anyone else would pay and then selling them at a loss. Like that is maybe one of the worst business models ever. And yet, here we are. Diane Swonk. Diane Swonk is, in my opinion, establishment. Classic establishment. She comments on a tweet from Lisa Abramovich. Americans are saving at the lowest rate since 2005, with the personal savings rate as a share of disposable income dropping to 2.3% in October. Commerce market data versus vis-a-vis Molly Smith News. Diane Swonk writes, I think we at the point of dissaving instead of saving. Can I mean, can we talk about this in the sense of the Shift Gold article we read a couple nights back, where it talked about how saving during a high inflationary period is stupid. Your money is continually worth less the longer you hold on to it. That is contrary to the financial principle of interest, which is, or I'm sorry, time value of money, which is $1 today is going to be worth more than $1 tomorrow. Those two are just not in, they're basically in conflict with each other. My thing would be, why would you save? Like, we talked about this in 2006. It's like, who's putting their money in a bank? Like, I mean, what about a brokerage account, right? That would be a place to put your savings if you had it. And so I don't really think that this, I just don't feel like that this helps us. I feel like the savings rate should be high, but it's not. And so you can see where it was high. Anyway, Valerie M Brown, look, let me tell you, she caught my eye because of her market analysis, which is the same one that I have. You know, like I use the same. This is Maris MLS. Hers probably isn't called Maris, or maybe it is. I don't know. We use Maris MLS here. It works fine. Median home price by fine in here, I mean St. Louis, and good. Median home prices by month for 2022. We look on track to finish lower than we started in January of 2022. So January we're at 435. Then it went to 450, then to 460, then 475, then 482. Then it started cooling off in June, but that didn't cool off here in June. 480, 465, 450, 450, 440, and 430 estimated. It's not good. But I mean, I'm, you know, house prices going down. Who does that hurt? People that bought houses recently, puts them in a negative equity situation. Not good. If you've owned a house though since like 2000 and you've done relatively decent upgrades of your home over time, you're probably sitting on something pretty good, even if the housing market goes south. Moving on. I mean, we are flying through things at a pace that I have not been able to fly through things in a long time. I don't know. I must be tired or something. Like I don't have the words that I normally have, which maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think that, if you think the show's going smoothly tonight, or in the chat. So this is from Lance Lambert. It says the U.S. housing market got objectively bubbly during the pandemic housing boom. I recommend reading this piece from top to bottom. There's a lot of Fed commentary we need to unpack, and I'm not going to read it tonight. Fortune magazine sometimes does some, Fortune.com does some stupid articles, but then they have Lance Lambert. And he writes good articles. I'm not interested. I'm just going to do this tonight. Maybe we'll catch it tomorrow. It's pretty clear that the top officials, Fed officials, believe the U.S. housing market overheated during the pandemic and a housing bubble formed during the pandemic. Well, because of your low cost to borrow. I mean, it's 100% your fault because you thought that inflation was transitory, which that was the joke. Spiked mortgage rates will help balance the housing market, says Powell in June of 2022. Now, look, with the 30-year fixed pulling back seemingly every day, that puts a kink in that plan. You understand. We're in a difficult housing correction, Powell says, and no poor underwriting this time, which is not good because they make the assumption, which I think is incorrect, that stronger lending practices will keep people from going foreclosure and not being able to pay the banks. But what they don't seem to understand is people, when they see their value of their home diminish greatly, they just stop making payments altogether. It doesn't matter that they could make the payments, it's that they don't want to. Ask me how I know 2007. I was around. A material drop in home prices is possible. It's not 2008. A material drop in home prices wouldn't trigger a wave of mortgage defaults and potentially destabilize the financial system. This is not good thinking, in my opinion. And there's a longer run housing shortage. They believe that. We've shown through the weeks that argument doesn't seem to hold water. And the longer run housing shortage will remain even after the correction concludes. It's like they believe they know more than everyone else. They're the smartest guys in the room. They could be right. Let's hope that they are. The alternative is not good. That, my friends, is the end of the tweets for tonight. That's how fast it went. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Let's get into an article. I thought this was interesting. Inflation adjusted house prices 3% below peak. Now, it says it's been over 16 years since the bubble peak. In the Case-Shiller release yesterday, this was the 30th, so the 29th, the seasonal adjusted national index was reported as being 62% above the bubble peak in 2006. However, in real terms, the national index is about 12% above the bubble peak, and historically has been an upward slope to real house prices. The composite 20 in real terms is about 3% above the bubble peak. Both indexes have declined for 4 consecutive months in real terms. People usually graph nominal house prices, but it's also important to look at prices in real terms. As an example, if a house price was $200,000 in January of 2000, the price will be almost $338,000 today, adjusted for inflation, which is a 69% increase. That is why the second graph below is important. This shows the real prices, and I think this is important. That's why we're reading it. The nominal house prices, the first graph, shows the monthly Case-Shiller National Index and the monthly Case-Shiller Composite 20 SA in nominal terms as reported. In nominal terms, the Case-Shiller National Index and the Case-Shiller Composite Index are both just below all-time highs set in June. Both indexes declined in September, with the national index off 2.2% from the recent peak and the composite index off 3.3%. Okay. By the way, Calculated Risk is a Substack written by Bill McBride. If you would like, I've read some of his stuff. It's pretty good. Real house prices, the second graph shows the same two indexes in real terms, adjusted for inflation using CPI less shelter. Note, some people use other inflation measures to adjust for real prices. In real terms, the national index is 3.3% below the recent peak, and the composite is 4.4%. In real terms, house prices are still above the bubble peak levels. There's an upward slope to real house prices, and it has been over 16 years since the previous peak. But real prices are historically high. Price to rent ratio. In October 2004, Fed economist John Craner and researcher Christian Wee wrote a Fed letter on price to rent ratios. Craner and Wee presented a price to rent ratio using OFHEO House Price Index and the owner's equivalent rent from the BLS. So they compared two indexes. I got an itch. Note that the OER is lagging behind other measures of recent rent increases. The price to rent ratio essentially is supposed to tell you, should you be renting now or should you be buying? Or if you are renting, it looks like you're in a period of, ever higher rents, and that would be bad. And then if you're buying, it would be, well, that'd be good because there's more value there than renting. That's what it's supposed to do. Here's a similar graph using the Case-Shiller National and National 20 house price indexes. This graph shows the price to rent ratio. The price to rate ratio had been moving more sideways, but picked up significantly following the onset of the pandemic. On a price to rent basis, the Case-Shiller National Composite 20 indexes declined again in September for the fourth consecutive month. The price to rent index for the national index is off 4.7% from the recent peak, and the composite 20 based index is off 5.7%. By all of the above measures, house prices are elevated but declining. But do you see how this chart goes up in a straight line? That can't be good. See, like it started doing this here too. When was that? Like 2001 to 2005. But this one's even more dramatic. This was just basically 2021 to 2023. And then calculated risk affordability index. I put together my own affordability index since 1976 that is similar to the first American approach, more of a house price index adjusted by mortgage rates and the median household income. I use median income from the Census Bureau, estimated 2021-22, assumed a 15% down payment and used a 2% estimate for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. This is probably low for high property tax states like New Jersey and Texas, and too high for lower property tax states. If we were including condos, we'd also include HOA fees too. This is excluded. For the house prices, I use the Case-Shiller National Index, seasonally adjusted. Also, for the down payment, there wasn't a significant difference between 15% and 20%. For mortgage rates, I use the Freddie Mac PMMS 30-year fixed rate. So here's what the index looks like now. Lower is a more affordable, like the First American Index. So if you're going down, that's good. You're going up, that's bad. Affordability worsened in September as mortgage rates increased, even though house prices declined. So what this means is like, look, even if house prices go down, if mortgage rates go up, your affordability is going to still be lower. Note that this index during the early 80s, homes were very unaffordable due to the very high mortgage rates. As at the housing bubble, houses were at about the same level of unaffordability using 30-year mortgage rates. However, during the bubble, there were many affordability products that allowed borrowers to be qualified at the teaser rate, usually around 1%, that made houses seem more affordable. Note the average 30-year mortgage rate in September was 6.11, increased to 6.90 in October. So affordability will be much worse in October, but improve a little in November. I think affordability matters, right? I mean, how is the market going to weather something that's not affordable? Doesn't make any sense. Airbnb launches a platform allowing renters to host apartments, partnering with major landlords. It seems like a terrible idea for Airbnb, but the mom and pops, quote unquote, that have Airbnbs right now are getting eaten alive. It says the company said on a new page on the site will so-called, we don't even do that. We'll do it this way. Airbnb is partnering with several major landlords and management companies to list designated apartment buildings where renters are allowed to offer short-term sublets on the site. The company said Wednesday that a new page on its website will list so-called Airbnb-friendly buildings, which will give tenants the option to host their apartments just as homeowners can. That seems crazy to me. Why are you renting a place and then subleasing it? It says, to start, Airbnb is showcasing 175 apartment buildings in more than 25 major markets, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Denver, Seattle, and Phoenix. Some cities, such as New York City and Washington, D.C., are not available due to local restrictions on short-term rentals. You run into the question of, should short-term rentals be limited? This is really getting dicey. The platform will help tenants host their rentals and help the buildings attract tenants who may want to host. How much tenants can earn would vary, but that's obvious. It depends on the building, depends on the location. There are a lot of different assumptions. Nathan Bletcher, hack co-founder of Airbnb. Okay, I agree with that. Obviously, how would you know the exact number? Doesn't make any sense. Given how much apartment rents have climbed over the past years, along with home prices and other rising prices, tenants are increasingly looking for ways to supplement their incomes to make their monthly payments. Rents are starting to ease, but are still up 10% from a year ago, according to Apartment List. Now, look, how are you not living in your apartment during this time? And how is what you're paying in rent, like you got to put in more than that for the person to live there? They've got to be putting in more than that. I mean, there's an affordability crunch here. It says last year rents rose more than 15% from the year before. The new page on Airbnb's website will also offer a calculator to show how much money the tenant can potentially make per month. Seriously. Stupid. Like, if you can't figure that out, you probably shouldn't be renting your unit. The calculation changes depending on the number of bedrooms and the number of nights each building allows, as well as potential asking rates given the building's amenities. Apartment buildings can also charge the primary tenant a fee of up to 20% of the price of each Airbnb use. For those buildings that have been in test mode so far, Airbnb said tenants have hosted an average of 9 nights per month with an average income of $900 a month. All hosts in the participating buildings must be the primary resident, and the building can restrict how many nights per month the apartment can be sublet. That's generally between 80 and 120 nights per year. The restrictions which can be enforced since the transactions all take place on the portal are intended to prevent investors from taking part in subletting the apartments full time. Well, good luck with that. Man, is it true there are places that in the rental market where you can literally rent an apartment from a management company and then sublease it out to someone else for more money, enough to make it worth your while? The apartment building owner or management company also has the right to review the listings before they go live and deactivate a listing if it doesn't comply with the building standards. They can also mandate a government ID from all potential subletters. Ooh, great. Now we've got an ID. They'll definitely not trash an apartment now. Equity Residential and UDR, which are apartment real estate investment trusts or REITs, and Greystar, the largest apartment management company in the U.S., are among the major firm names offering apartments with hosting privileges on the new Airbnb platform. If you own an apartment building and you get 20% off of the tenant who leases their unit for nothing, I mean, that's smart. Take that. We believe this platform will provide the right tools for both owners and residents to effectively manage short-term rental activity without impacting overall housing supply. We are collaborating with Airbnb on this innovative approach to participate in the 21st century sharing economy in a thoughtful way. I don't want to be in the sharing economy. People on the right were okay with the sharing economy, the shared economy. I never wanted to be a part of it. I like to own things. I like them to be mine. I don't like the World Economic Forum for this reason. You'll own nothing and like it. No, I'd like to own things. I don't like when people build things that are purposely designed to fail over time, timed obsolescence. Your phone, your Tesla, like a tractor, you can still buy a Ford like 9N tractor and damn thing still runs. And they were built in like the 50s. That's what I want. That's the world I want to live in. You buy something and it's got some value. And if you do it just right, you actually like get a return on the money that you spent. Maybe that's just me. Last article of the night. It's not a long one. And again, I apologize for running short tonight. I got nobody in chat. I got nobody making comments. I just got to go, I got nothing. And something that I think was going to be obvious, the Open Door CEO, Eric Wu, steps down. CFO Carrie Wheeler to helm the iBuyer. Look, you can't lose $1 billion in a quarter or almost $1 billion in a quarter and still keep your job. I'm just saying. Eric Wu, co-founder of Open Door, stepping down as CEO of the iBuyer, which is grappling with massive losses and a plummeting stock price and faces a slowing housing market. Wu is being replaced by Carrie Wheeler, who's been Open Door CFO since 2020, not that long, and previously worked at a private equity firm, TBG Global. Look, Carrie Wheeler, I don't feel sorry for Carrie Wheeler, and I don't have any confidence that she can turn around a business model that is terrible. Buying houses by paying more than someone else will spend and then selling them for less than what people would buy them for is not a good situation. Like, that's a bad business model. It's amazing that it's amazing to me that this is like allowed to happen in the world, because you would think Like any business that tried to pull this scheme would be out of business, and Open Door's still here. Wu's not leaving the company. He'll head up Open Door's marketplace product, which he said in a statement will fundamentally change how all homes are transacted and is a critical piece of Open Door's future. Notably, the marketplace would not require Open Door to put any skin in the game. Instead, it would be a way for third-party buyers and sellers to trade homes. Okay, this is one of the problems I have with tech. What happens when you build tech that nobody wants? That might be prudent since Open Doors already lost plenty of skin. The San Francisco-based company reported a net loss of $928 million in the third quarter, more than 17 times what it lost in the second quarter. Much of that loss was attributed to a $573 million write-down in home values. The firm said in a letter to shareholders describing the adjustment as a conservative forward view. Its revenues for the quarter were $3.4 billion, down from $4.2 billion in the second quarter, and its stock has fallen nearly 90% this year. In November, it laid off about 550 employees, or nearly 20% of its workforce. And people got to go when you're not making money, right? But never the executives. Open Door, founded by Wu, Keith Raboy, Justin Ross, and Ian Wong. Wow, 4 founders. It took 4 people to figure out this model that's been essentially alive since like houses started being bought and sold in the United States. But it says they pioneered iBuying, or algorithmically driven instant home buying. Yeah. Again, if you get the word AI in there, people will spend money on it. Like investors will come to you. It's really weird. It's kind of like carbon fiber was, or even before that, what was the fiber optics? The company raised $1.9 billion across 10 funding rounds, according to Crunchbase, well over its current market cap of $1.18 billion. Well, that's not good. Some of its rivals have abandoned the iBuying experiment altogether. Zillow shuttered its iBuying operation last year after reporting nearly $900 million in losses on the venture, while Redfin pulled the plug on its iBuying division last month. It's a bad plan. Will something good come from this? I don't know. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. With that, I'm going to head on out. I'm tired. I have a closing early tomorrow. Will we stream tomorrow night? I think so. Unless I can't. I have to be somewhere tomorrow night. It's not a party. It's not a fun event. If I can't be here, I can't even tell you that I won't be here because, I mean, what I can say is this. I'd like to stream tomorrow night. So that means like I'm 70% sure, but I don't know the time. So please forgive me if I'm late tomorrow night. But other than that, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching tonight. If you watched it on the replay, I really, really appreciate you people. Thank you. Tell your friends, share it, put some comments in the comment section, and watch and help me get to my goal of 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Thank you very much. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow.